So we've got a couple different huge RPGs and games to go over that would be absolutely massive for the Nintendo Switch 2 and just gaming in general, stuff that people have been waiting for, and a personal favorite of mine that was actually in my top RPGs of all time, 10 out of 10 games. So let's go ahead and jump right into the latest rumor that's actually been around for quite some time, but we have a bit of an update on this game, and that is two major Final Fantasy titles that I know a lot of my classic fans are absolutely looking for. So this is Final Fantasy IX Remake and Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered. Shout outs to VGC for the beat on this one. And it does seem, according to noted industry insider Mr. Nate the Hate, who has had a record of revealing information very accurately, which he did even give us the day that the Nintendo Switch 2 was going to be revealed. He's actually talking about this recently. Now, on a recent post on Twitter/X, somebody asked him about the status of both games, Final Fantasy IX Remake in addition to Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered. And Nate the Hate said, quote, "Both remain in active development. Final Fantasy IX Remake isn't expected to release in 2025. Maybe we'll see it in 2026. Now remember guys, for those who don't know, Final Fantasy IX was originally released back in the year 2000 on the PlayStation 1. That was back when Square Enix would be pumping out Final Fantasy games, main numbered ones, almost every single year in a mad rush for the PlayStation 2 launched. Now we did get the game re-released in 2010 for a PS1 classic on the PlayStation 3 and PSP, and then a Vita version of the game in 2012. In 2016, we got the game released for mobile and PC, then it came over to the PlayStation 4 in 2017, and the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch back in 2019. Now, Final Fantasy Tactics, the other game that Nate the Hate did talk about, was initially released back in 1997, which is an ultimate classic. I love the box art. The box art was always so striking to me whenever I went to the different game stores and I saw it there. The game was developed by Yasumi Matsuno, who would go on to develop Final Fantasy 12, which that game is kind of infamous in its own right. Now, back in 2021, the Final Fantasy IX Remake was one of the many unannounced titles that we got at the infamous GeForce Now database leak. And this included several Square Enix games that officially became real. So, for example, the PC version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Chrono Cross Remastered, and Kingdom Hearts 4. So it's just a matter of time of when these games are actually going to be coming. Now, I do want to talk about this just a little bit more because Final Fantasy IX Remake is something to where it seems like it's kind of taken its own form as something even bigger than maybe what we thought it would be. Now, some people have even said, well, maybe they're going to split it up and do what they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake. And no, they're not going to do that, guys. I don't think we have to worry about that at all. I think we're going to get the full experience, and it's not necessarily going to be to that level because Final Fantasy IX overall in terms of popularity was never at that level. Now, it sold well and it reviewed well, and it's one of the best games of all time in my opinion, but I don't think they're going to do the same mistake that they made with Final Fantasy VII Remake and splitting it up and putting it over multiple generations. That's just not going to happen with this game, considering it's not to the level in terms of overall significance that Final Fantasy VII is looked at within Square Enix. So you don't have to worry about that for those that are worrying about it. I think it's going to be a good full remake that's going to add a lot of quality of life features and potentially even extra things into the base package. Kind of like how Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil 2 Remake, games like that have done, or even other remakes that Square Enix has done, like for example the Trials of Mana remake. That was awesome. Seiken Densetsu 3, that was really good, full game packed in there, and a bunch of cool other stuff as well with a graphical overhaul. So that's definitely what I'm expecting for Final Fantasy IX Remake. When it comes to Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered, you already have a masterpiece at this point. There's really no need to do anything more than just improve it, add quality of life features, and get it out on modern platforms, and you've got yourself a hit right there. It's still to this day one of the best tactics games, even with all the other games that have came out since then. It's a classic banger strategy RPG, and I think it would be a hit re-releasing it for modern systems, especially on the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. But speaking of the Nintendo Switch 2, if this is 2026 when it comes down to it, maybe we get Tactics Remastered in 2025, and then we get Final Fantasy IX Remake in 2026. I think that would be incredible to have that across a wide range of platforms, including the Nintendo Switch 2. And maybe they're even trying to target that a little bit, considering what's happening now at this point, the transition from Switch 1 to Switch 2, and what Square Enix had to say about reforming their whole business, going more multi-plat as well. So it's absolutely going to be very exciting to see what's going on with Final Fantasy IX Remake and Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered, because Square Enix has just got hit after hit that they can bring back. But you know what else we can do when it comes to hit? You can hit that subscribe button if you're someone that's watching and you're enjoying the content and you're not subscribed yet. We drop content all the time. You're going to love it here. Also, click that notification bell as well. I would appreciate it. And hit that like while you're at it. And drop a comment below about what you're most excited about when it comes to Final Fantasy or games coming out in 2025. But let's go ahead and jump into another Nintendo Switch 2 topic here. And we're talking about the game that was actually shown off recently at the State of Play, but that's also been shown off before as well, and that's Split Fiction. Apparently, the developer knows a lot about the Nintendo Switch 2, but can't talk about it right now at this point. So shoutouts to Nintendo Life for this one. And they stated that Hazelight Studios has released award-winning co-op experiences like It Takes Two, and the next game up is Split Fiction. Now, at the moment, it's locked in for various platforms, but we're still waiting to find out if it'll make its way to the Nintendo Switch 2. Hazelight founder Josef Fares, Mr. F the Oscars guy, was asked about the chances of the Nintendo Switch 2 release during an interview with Gamertag Radio recently, and there's no official announcement at this stage, but there could be an update in the future. Quote, "We don't know yet, but hopefully in the future, we will know more." Now, he also talked about how Nintendo fans should hold out for this upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, while acknowledging the secrecy behind the system, which apparently he already knows a lot about. Quote, "I mean, I know obviously a lot about Switch 2, but you know, there's a lot of secrecy behind everything, so I can't say anything yet." That's called an NDA for those who don't know, but you will all know soon. So then we're going to know more about the console. Split Fiction will arrive next month in March and will be followed by Nintendo's direct broadcast in early April. Given the fact that Switch 2 includes 2 controllers, the sci-fi and fantasy narrative-driven action adventure could be a perfect way to start the new hybrid system's life. And yeah, this guy has made incredible co-op experiences. He's done this time and time again. It Takes Two was a Game Awards Game of the Year winner back in 2021, then got a later port to Nintendo Switch afterwards. That's okay, not quite as good as the other versions, but still okay overall. So yeah, it'd be pretty cool if they were able to release this type of game, because this is probably going to review well. It's probably going to be a good playing game. Josef Fares, he always makes some good stuff overall that play well, and very cool co-op adventures that you can play with your family or friends. So I do feel that this will probably come over to the Nintendo Switch 2 based on how he's talking here, and I think it's going to be pretty cool to see a bunch of games that come over to the Nintendo Switch 2 that you know probably wouldn't have come over to the Nintendo Switch 1. So I think that's going to be exciting with this Nintendo Switch 2 April Direct. But to be perfectly honest, this is no shade towards Microsoft or Sony, but after watching their events for this year that they've done so far, we desperately need Nintendo Switch 2 Directs. We desperately need Nintendo Directs to come back and be in the focus, just because I feel that they do a good job. Don't get me wrong, there's awesome games at the shows, but it's missing that oomph in terms of first party and the flow and the decade plus of experience that they've had refining the formula over and over in terms of how it's just organized. So I do feel that this game, Split Fiction, could show up in a highlight reel, or maybe it's something that Nintendo does show off at some point when it comes to a direct. So it's going to be cool to see what's going on in the future with this one. But now we actually have a game to where we know a lot more about, and that is Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. We got an official release date for the game and new platforms and features with those platforms. So the game is going to be coming out on May 21st, and now the game will be launching on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam on May 21st. Level 5 has officially announced this. Now, the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC versions are newly announced. We didn't know about that before. It'll support a bevy of languages, and it's got like a special edition and other stuff. However, there's no physical release announced for the West. There's one in Japan, but there's no official physical release here in the West, which is very unfortunate overall. There's a bunch of pre-order bonuses and different things like that for digital editions and items that you can get and all of it. But I do want to go over some of the key features here. It says that a dragon guides you to a mysterious island, and you can start from there. You have 14 unique lives to make yours even brighter. You can shape the island, create your own town with a bunch of features there. You can embark on an open world adventure, which they did reveal, I think, the last time that the game actually went completely open world, where you can freely explore however you like when it comes to rivers, lakes, mountains, all sorts of stuff. So it's pretty cool there. But this is probably the coolest thing added in here, and it's endless fun with multiplayer. You can have multiplayer for up to 4 players, invite friends to your island, explore dungeons, or find your own ways to have fun together. If you have 2 controllers, you can also use 2-player family co-op feature where 1 player can join the adventure as your travel companion without needing to connect online. And I think that's going to be a huge feature for families to be able to enjoy, brothers, sisters, whatever the case is, right? Niece, nephew, all of that. That is such a cool thing for this type of game. I really like the fact that they have that local multiplayer built in. And I know it's like, well, it's just local multiplayer. But for this type of game, local multiplayer is probably going to be incredibly lit. So if you have someone to play with right there, I think this is going to be a ton of fun. But even better when it comes to all these platforms being added in, they have full cross play and cross save. So this is an incredible feature that I've always been saying, hey, like Square Enix, your games need to do this. We need to have more cross save, cross play type of features, and I'm so happy this is being added in. So you can play freely on any platform, play in handheld mode when you're outside, and enjoy the game on a big screen when you're at home. To access online play, a paid subscription, of course, to NSO, PlayStation Plus, or Xbox Game Pass is required, depending on the platform. An Epic Games account is required to use the cross save as well there. So for me, this is big because I definitely want to have like a Switch version that I can play on the go and then come back and play it on my PlayStation when I'm back at home on the TV. So that's actually pretty cool, depending on what the frame rate and resolution and stuff are between the different versions and all that. I mean, if it's okay on the Switch, then I won't need to do that. But if I want to get those extra frames or resolution or look or whatever the case is, I can do that on my PlayStation 5. So that's definitely a great feature. And while this game has been delayed multiple times, I do think that it was actually worth it considering all the stuff that they've added in to make the experience better for the gamers out there. So what do you think about Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time? Let me know. But now we're going to a different girl, but she's not stealing time. So it looks like she's stealing souls overall, because Tides of Annihilation, we've got 11 minutes of new gameplay footage. This was a game that was announced at the recent State of Play that actually looks pretty cool. So Eclipse Glow Games has released an 11-minute gameplay video of Tides of Annihilation. It's the newly announced fantasy action adventure game coming to the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam and Epic Games Store. So this game, Tides of Annihilation, is a fantasy action adventure inspired by Arthurian legend. Uncover the mystery of an otherworldly invasion in a shattered modern London, unleashing hordes of enemies as Gwendolyn fight alongside spectral knights to save your family and piece a broken world back together. Here are the key features of the game. Once vibrant London has been torn asunder into an eerie reflection of itself, its buildings distorted, life forms transformed, and its history shrouded in shadow. Venture into this devastated world to uncover hidden truths and find a way to save your family, city, and the very fabric of reality itself. You can also harness the power of knights and build your order. Experience a unique knightly combat system that allows you to command a band of over 10 legendary knights inspired by Arthurian lore. Each knight brings unique skills and abilities to your team. Combine their powers to craft your own battle strategies, unleashing awe-inspiring cooperative attacks. Forge a path to victory with your personalized order of knights, and you can encounter and conquer colossal knights. Towering like mountains, the colossal knights of Rome, Greater London, are more than a mere set pieces. They are integral to your journey. Engage in epic battles against these mighty giants, scale their massive forms, and delve into their palatial depths and uncover the grand tales that define their experience. So yeah, it looks like this game is trying to do a couple things differently overall. You can command the power of the knights on your own. You've got some huge different types of tall colossal knights that you can fight, and it looks beautiful as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing more when it comes to Tides of Annihilation. Looks like it's going to be a pretty cool new IP as well. We don't necessarily have a release date for it at this point, but it definitely seems like they're getting ready to announce that probably sometime this year. So what do you guys think overall about all the different topics that we went over with the Nintendo Switch 2, RPGs, Final Fantasy, Fantasy Life I, Split Fiction, and more? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.